This Black History Month, News Channel 6 is committed to honoring people who made the CSRA a better place than when they found it.
Yeah, tonight we are looking into the life of a woman who paved the way for other women who believed they were called to a higher purpose. Renetta DuBose with this special report.
A religious powerhouse emerged in 1940, mapping Augusta's church future, all while being a good shepherd. We take a look into the life of Reverend Essie Mae McIntyre and how she broke barriers from the pulpit.
Yes, they were in the Sunday school, and yes, they could sing on the choir, but to think about being in an ecclesiastical position was, ooh.
Sunday morning church remains a staple in the Black community, and those who attend Good Shepherd Baptist Church on Olive Road in Augusta can thank their fearless leader for reversing gender roles in the house of worship.
A lot of women were really beginning to feel a nudge or a pull to serve more in the church.
Bishop Rosa Williams pastors Ever Faithful Missionary Baptist Church on Sandbar Ferry Road in Augusta, an unimaginable feat prior to 1940. That's when her friend, Reverend Essie Mae McIntyre, started her journey to becoming the South's first female Baptist pastor.
At one time in the Baptist church, women couldn't even go in the pulpit to clean it, less on to preach in it.
Born in the Old Town section of Louisville, Georgia, McIntyre spent her childhood in Burke County and Sylacauga, Alabama before making the Garden City home. The early years were tough, filled with illness, but in April of 1940, she heard the call of God and transitioned her neighborhood club number 2 into Good Shepherd Baptist Church, and those first members voted her their pastor.
She would make you tremble. She talked about hell and heaven.
Reverend Oscar Brown knows McIntyre as his Aunt Maymay, his mother's sister. He says he still remembers helping with construction on the first brick building in 1951, a church that no longer had a wooden exterior. It still stands today on a street named in her honor. The church began with 17 members, but it took decades for the South to accept a woman preacher who said she was called by God. In 1940, Brown says Augusta Mayor James Woodall did believe and granted her a license to preach, but she still needed to be ordained.
In addition to being a pastor, so you can do communion, burials, and weddings and all of those things, you need to be ordained. But no pastor would ordain her. And they even had a word put out that if they found out who did license, that they would actually kill the person.
In fact, even in her own church, she was threatened.
Reverend McIntyre was ordained in secret, one she took to the grave with her to protect the person who did it. And the sheriff at that time promised to arrest anyone who harmed her with a sign outside the church. But as a woman of cloth walking through the valley of the shadow of death, Reverend McIntyre feared no evil.
The 23rd song was her favorite, major favorite. As a matter of fact, that's why Good Shepherd is named Good Shepherd, because when he called her into the ministry, oh, I bless your name, I'm getting excited, he told her, I'm the Good Shepherd.
And despite being called, she was shunned by many churches who would invite her to speak and turn her away from the pulpit when she arrived and they learned she was a woman. Bishop Williams, who traveled with McIntyre to various church conferences, says she was allowed to speak at a visiting church typically on Mother's Day, and it was almost always moved to another building, not inside the sanctuary. A few churches, such as Tabernacle Baptist Church and Thankful Baptist Church, complied.
My thing to her was, why would you go to these places when you know they don't want you there in the position that you're in? They'd even call her Miss McIntyre, Sister McIntyre, and Mother McIntyre, never Pastor McIntyre or Reverend McIntyre. And she would say, 'cause it ain't about me. It's about the one who sent me.
McIntyre's history records she believed in outreach ministry. She made history as the first woman president and vice president of the Augusta Lincoln League. And though involved, she never drove.
She would call you 6 o'clock in the morning and tell you to come and take her to visit so-and-so at a hospital. I said, but Reb, I got to see if I can get off work. He said, that's your problem. You just be here to pick me up.
By the time she retired in 1986, Good Shepherd grew to 600 members. One of those members is Bernice Harrington, who joined Good Shepherd at the age of 9 in 1954.
One Wednesday night, my mom told Reverend McIntyre, Reverend McIntyre, my granddaughter want to join the church. And so Reverend McIntyre said, bless God, put a chair out here. My daughter went up there at 3 years old, and right now I think she's the youngest person that ever joined Good Shepherd Baptist Church. To me, she left a legacy of love because she showed people how to love.
As any good shepherd would do, Reverend McIntyre brought thousands to Christ, and the house that she built still stands, being led each week by the shepherd who accepted the torch from her.
Reverend Essie Mae McIntyre died on this day, February 12th, in 1996. You can watch the full story on WJBF.com.